Hello and welcome to She TV, the place to become powerfully feminine from the inside out. And today's topic is what is the best way to attract a king without being inauthentic? And if you haven't subscribed, subscribe over here and press the little bell icon so that you're notified whenever I upload new videos or conduct a live stream here. So the topic today is what is the best way to attract a king without being inauthentic? So this is for you if you want to know how to be really seated in yourself, your queen, and stop compromising your authenticity when in relationships. And you're basically sick of any cheap tips and tricks for how to attract a king, how to attract a high quality masculine king man. This is not for you if you've already mastered the feminine arts and skills and you know how to apply them when in dating and relationships, which is another thing altogether, okay? Now, I want to really encourage you to ask questions in the comments below, and I'll try to answer as many of them as I can at the end of my delivery of the live stream. Otherwise, I will get back to you afterwards. Rest assured, I will get back to you. Now, as we're waiting for a few more women to join us today, and before we proceed here, I want to personally invite you to join me for my brand new 1-hour masterclass that I'm conducting a few times this coming week. It's called How to Become a High Value Woman Who Attracts and Keeps, importantly, a High Quality Masculine Man. And in the 1-hour masterclass, I'll also be revealing the 3 really common and devastating mistakes to avoid that keep smart, successful women attracting the wrong men. So there's a link that I'm going to put below on how to reserve your spot for the masterclass, and there are limited seats per masterclass. So make sure you get enrolled, and then I'll be sending you some email reminders to make sure you jump on the masterclass. I'm excited to join you in that. Now today, let me just check on you again. Who have we got here without my glasses on? Hello, Pamela. Hello, Carol. Ellen, hello. Hello, Carly. Hello, Sophie. Sophie says, Candice, you're so inspiring. New videos have helped me so much. Fantastic. I'm so happy to hear that. That's what I'm here for. That warms my heart to the core. So beautiful. Okay, let's continue. So today, what I'm going to cover is how to be attractive, as in magnetic, without having to change who you are. And I'm going to share with you the huge mindset shift. Say that fast 25 times. Mindset shift. The huge mindset shift I had to make after I failed in dating and relationships for over a decade. I'm going to share with you the number 1 mistake women make that keep them attracting the wrong men, and why you need to let go, lean back, and why this matters to a high quality masculine man. So beautiful, let's begin. Now essentially, see, the thing is, how to attract a king, attract your king, is essentially about attraction. And I think what's happened, I know what's happened out there often in the world, is this concept of being attractive, or being attractive, basically, okay, has become about hair, makeup, and clothing. What I call the outward adornment of the feminine. Now look, you know me well enough at this point. I'm super girly. I have a lot of fun with the adornment side of the feminine. But my work essentially, even though that may be what you see on the outside and that may be what is seen from the outside, my entire work is about your inner feminine power, your inner feminine radiance, how you shine the feminine from the inside out. Think of it like being like a sun, like being solar, where I remember this girlfriend in high school. Her name was Simone. She was a very beautiful looking woman. And there was always this running sort of joke about her that she could wear a paper bag and she'd still be beautiful. And it really wasn't so much about that she was an attractive looking woman. She just exuded feminine radiance. Boy, I didn't have the name for that then. I didn't know what it was. I do now. And that's what I teach you. That's the essence of all of my trainings with you. The Powerfully Feminine trainings in general, and the Arise in Your Queen, Attract Your King work. It's about being feminine. And the thing is, when you be feminine, it is innately attractive. Okay? It is attractive. It is the essence of the feminine is about receiving, about being magnetic, about things coming toward us. Yeah? And the funny thing about that is it's the opposite of what we've been trained to do. The masculine is about action, doing, going outwards, moving forward, penetration. And in our modern world where we've been trained to be really masculine, we go out of ourselves, okay? We end up going out of ourselves into the masculine orientation, and we're out of the feminine. Now, I always say you can't be both doing, going outwards, and being and receiving inwards at the same time. The tide can't go out and come in at the same time. And the thing is, the effect on our energy, on our body, because of the hormones, is radical, okay? So when we're in the masculine and we're going outward and we're doing, we immediately start to turn the tide toward the masculine-oriented hormones. Now, I'm talking about hormones, which is a physical thing that courses through our body and our energy. And of course, the thing is, the hormones are a representation of our energy. So when we start to go into the orientation of the masculine in ourselves, or we go into man mode, as I call it, right? What happens is the estrogens and the progesterone get turned off, which are the main feminine hormones, and the testosterone and the cortisol start to go up. Testosterone is the main masculine, let's call it the main man masculine hormone, and cortisol is the thing that starts to spike our stress levels. Now, the weird thing is, for men who have 20 to 30 times more testosterone than us, that's good for them. Them being in warrior action mode is something they seek to be. And this is a little sidebar, but I have this sort of running joke with my partner. He's incredibly affectionate, incredibly tactile, incredibly cuddly. But after sex, for example, he's not a person that turns away after sex. He pulls me in, he cuddles me, we talk, we're very intimate, and he'll go, okay, I've had enough estrogen right now. And that's after quite a while. He'll go, I need to go and fill up my testosterone. Now, he knows these things because we talk about it a lot, right? And for the masculine, they need to fill up their testosterone. They do that by going and doing stuff, by achieving, by going for a run, by going into the gym and doing weights. They do these things because they need to build up their testosterone again. And they actually, when they do weights, for example, they put stress on their body because it feels good to them, right? Now, look, we can argue till the cows come home that men are overly stressed too. I agree. But in the line of what we're talking about at the moment, what happens is the testosterone and the cortisol displace the oxytocin, the estrogen and the progesterone. The oxytocin is the touch cuddle hormone, okay? The very thing that Thomas goes, okay, I've had enough of that for now. And we laugh at that point because my cuddle tank has been totally filled up. I'm totally cool with that, right? I've had all the intimacy and touch and oxytocin filling that I need. And what does that do? That totally builds my estrogen up. It builds the progesterones back up again, okay? So my point here, and I'm talking about physical hormones, but the energetic side of that is very, very similar, okay? In that when we are in the feminine, we're receiving his masculine. So how to be attractive without having to change who you are is just letting yourself be yourself. Letting yourself be in your feminine energy. And that's what the masculine loves, adores, wants and desires more than anything you can possibly imagine. It is so valuable, in fact, that men will walk over hot coals for it. Let's look at the story of Helen of Troy, right? Okay, she was married to King Menelaus, but Paris and the opposing army literally started a war over Helen of Troy. She was touted as being the most beautiful woman in all of the counties, all of the lands, right? So a whole war, the Trojan War, was started over a woman, over this incredibly desirable feminine woman, okay? And I'm using that story to illustrate what the extents men will go to for the feminine in a woman, okay? So the next thing I wanted to cover was the mindset shift I had to make after I had failed in dating and relationships for over a decade. Okay, I'm being kind to myself. It was over 2 decades, is the truth. Now, it's spin back a couple of decades. I was a corporate woman in Australia. I was highly successful, highly sought after, and I had achieved and ticked all the boxes of success as a smart, successful woman, okay? That's all I knew. That's what I was shown how to be. That was me thinking that I was doing what the world thought was a good idea. And of course, I'm saying these things now consciously, whereas at the time, it was just I had will. I was smart. I loved what I did. It's not like I was doing this against my will. Let's be clear on that. And if I'm talking to you and you relate to that, it's not that you're doing it against your will. You love being independent. You love making money. You love achieving. You love following through on things. You love creating. And I totally relate to that. I still do that. And yet what happened for me is, of course, that led to massive burnout. I burnt my energy out because I didn't know what the feminine was. I had no role models of the feminine. None at all in my life. I certainly didn't know that that's something I wanted in myself. I knew I wanted things inside. I knew I wanted a high quality masculine man. I did know that. I wouldn't have used the words, but I really yearned for this really deep, abiding partnership. And yet I was an abject failure at it. Abject failure. Why? Because I turned up basically in dating as a dude, and I would lead with how smart I was, how capable I was. And let's be super clear. Smart, high quality, high achieving masculine men love smart women. So let's not throw out the baby with the bathwater or think that you have to throw out the baby with the bathwater. My partner loves that I am smart, capable, successful. He is my biggest cheerleader. He's right behind me with everything I do. He loves that I teach the work on the feminine. We talk about it all the time. We talk about masculine, feminine polarity. He loves that. He always says that I'm a total smarty pants and I know everything about everything. And he doesn't say it with tongue in cheek. He loves that I know a lot of things. He loves that I'm smart. And of course, I don't shove it in his face. And especially when we were first dating, I had gone through these decades of failure, really not doing well in dating relationships. Or I might have got into a relationship with someone, but I just threw the polarity out all the time because I kept going into the masculine. I was throwing the polarity out. And that was me. That was my actions, right? And then that just doesn't work. You lose sexual polarity. You lose emotional polarity and intimacy. You just throw the polarity out. And what we want more than anything else is strong masculine, feminine polarity. And if you want a high quality masculine man, you want to be strongly feminine, okay? And I can promise you, if he's a high achieving, strongly masculine man, he wants to be with a feminine energy woman. He wants a woman who's essentially feminine. And even though you're super smart, he wants to be with your feminine. He wants to be able to protect, provide, adore and cherish you and your feminine. And that means a whole lot of things. That means learning how to be attractive and receptive. But it also means it means that you need to start to become comfortable with your own feminine vulnerability. And I can promise you, one of the things that we end up doing when we lead with our masculine is that we're hiding our vulnerability. Now, the thing is, we are vulnerable. Our bodies are weaker, smaller than the men, than the masculine. And that is essentially a foundational vulnerability that we have. And that's why in my program, Arise and Your Queen, Attract Your King, I talk a lot about dating safety and stuff. And it's a very real thing. You know, I was very aware of making sure I was safe when I was dating. Okay? And there's things I can teach you about that in the program. And so the huge mindset shift I had to make was, one, that I wanted to be feminine and I wanted a high quality masculine man. And in order for that attraction to happen, I needed to learn how to get back into my feminine polarity for that to happen. And in order to do that, at the time, I had to do a lot of research and application and learning on what that was, which now, of course, I'm here teaching you. And then I had to apply it. I had to be courageous enough to actually apply that when I was dating. I had to turn up in my feminine. I had to be my essential feminine core. And that meant revealing that early in the piece. So one of the things I always say is, in the early phases of dating, we're actually establishing the foundations of the relationship, if a relationship ensues, right? And so there's nothing worse that we can do than follow some ridiculous tips and tricks and with this sort of how to make a guy fall in love with you by sending him crazy texts, or how to catch a man, or all this stuff is just not how I roll. Okay, I want you to be yourself. I want you to turn up really yourself, and that comes with everything about who you are. That comes with you being vulnerable. That comes with you turning up real. You know, we in the feminine, we are emotional creatures. We have highs and lows. And we need to be okay with that level of richness of feeling. We feel deeply, okay? And the feeling self, the feeling nature of the feminine is something the masculine loves, that we feel so deeply. But we have to become comfortable with it first. We need to be comfortable with the richness of our feeling. The fact that we can suddenly feel something else. We can suddenly change our mind, right? That's because we feel deeply. And that comes from being very sensitive to our energy, to our body, to our needs. And we need to be able to do that for ourselves first, okay? That's first and foremost. And then we can present it in a powerful way. So a queen is seated in her body, in her energy, and she's very comfortable with her needs, her desires, what she wants, how to speak her needs in an empowered way that is not a demand. I always have this sort of running concept that men don't mind high maintenance women. I talk about this with Thomas all the time. Okay? So men are cool with high maintenance women as long as they're high performance, right? High maintenance, high performance is fine. High maintenance, low performance is the princess. It's classically the princess. And that's just going to wear a man out eventually. So the thing is, if you think about it, men love high performance sports cars. Why? Because they are beautiful to look at. They're incredible in terms of performance, and they will spend all weekend taking care of them. This is my metaphor here, right? High maintenance, high performance is fine. High powered sports cars also need high maintenance. Okay? So my partner will constantly joke. He will say things like, "How's my Ferrari going?" And if I'm in one of my phases, he'll go, "That's my Ferrari for you." Sometimes I'm in the shop. But he's fine with that because I turn up authentically. I am present with him. I don't withdraw any of myself with him, which includes my incredibly loving, caring, adoring nature of him. Okay? So he knows that when he's taking care of me, or if I'm in a high maintenance mode, that he's well and truly getting himself filled up on us and our relationship too. So the number one mistake women make that keep them attracting the wrong men, well, the thing is, you know my model of the true feminine and the false feminine. So the false feminine are the maid and the princess. The true feminine is the queen, the priestess. And even if you've come off as a priestess in my quiz, I always say the priestess needs the queen. You can't skip a step. You can't not be in an empowered relationship to your body, sexuality. You can't feel confident. You can't not feel confident. You can't not know what your needs and desires are and know how to communicate them in an empowered way. These are the queen things. The queen is seated in her body, her energy, her pussy, she's seated strongly in herself. And that's when you attract a very different kind of person. So if you are operating in the false feminine and you're not aware of it, then please just go back, do the quiz again. I'm about to release a new quiz that's more specifically related to dating relationships, so I'll add that here when I do that in the next couple of weeks. But the thing is, every woman inside her has a queen inside her. And this is why I share this model with you, because it's not to say you're a princess and you're always going to be a princess. It's to say, hey, okay, so you've been really honest in this assessment. You're a princess. So what do you need in terms of coaching, mentorship, training, in order to show you your own queen? And so if you're operating from the false feminine, let's say, well, the maid, she just doesn't believe that there's a high quality man out there for her. She doesn't believe that she's valuable enough. She's got such low self-worth that it's very hard for her to even conceive of that that's for her. The princess fights and demands for her needs. And that's exhausting for everybody around her. Okay, you know that if you're a friend of a princess, right? That doesn't work either. And you see, the princess is lost somewhere because she doesn't realize that she has an innate power inside her where she can make requests and not demands, where she can just be. She can be still. She can exude her feminine energy and have the bees coming to her like bees to the honey, yeah? And so becoming a queen, standing in your queen, arising in your queen is possible for anyone. It's inside all women. I've had women who've really come to me as maids and princesses and who've been trained in my programs, and they arise in their queen and they go, wow, it's like magic when they realize that just being themselves, by just standing in their queen, in their sense of their power as a woman, by being in the feminine, how powerful it is. And let's face it, we're in a world at the moment where there's just so much need for the feminine. Yeah, there's so much desire for it in the world in general. But I can promise you that high quality masculine men are really looking for the feminine. Excuse me. I'm getting over a cold still, my loves. So, an essence of the true feminine is realizing that you just need to learn to let go more. Let go of the reins, as in don't control the process. Don't lead in dating and relationships. And there's this concept of leaning back. And leaning back is not, a physical leaning back, although it can be, of course. It's an energetic letting go to the masculine in the dynamic, okay? Giving the masculine a chance to do what he wants to do. He needs to bring out in himself. He wants to lead. And look, if you're going to ask me questions like, what if the man isn't leading? I'd say, well, stop doing anything and see if he can. So when I started dating last time, which was now 2.5 years ago, before I met my king, I went out there going, I am 100% turning up into the dating world from my feminine. And I'm just going to do everything from the feminine, be from the feminine, not lead, lean back, let go, and then see what happens. Why was I doing that? Because I needed to see if the man in front of me could turn up in the masculine, if he could lead the dating process and then lead the relationship forward. I didn't want to do it anymore. I'd been doing that for decades, and I can promise you that if you are doing that in relationships and dating, they might follow you, but they will resent you eventually. Hear my words on that. If you lead as a woman, he will follow if he's weak and if he doesn't have the ability to turn up and lead in his masculine, but he will eventually resent you for it. Why? Because you're not giving him a chance to be in his masculine, or he just may not have the ability to. So let's work that out early. Isn't it better to work that out early than proceed in your old way, lead, be in your masculine in the relationship dynamic, and then your needs are not getting met, his needs are not getting met, and it's a lose-lose scenario. So if you're here because you seek to know your feminine power, understand what that is, what that feels like inside you, then mark my words, turn up feminine, try it out, practice it, engage here in the group, ask me questions, comment, try it out. You will never know if you don't do it, okay? So of course I have whole trainings on how to do this because so many women have forgotten how. I get it. I was there too. I was that woman. I was the smart, savvy, successful woman who had ticked all the boxes of success, and yet I was an abject failure in dating and relationships. I now know the secret sauce on how to do that. And it does require a bit of a training. It does require a systematic approach. Let me check in on you, lovelies. Okay. Beautiful, Karen. Karen says, I once saw Oprah on TV with 2 different earrings on. It's unexpectedly gorgeous. Okay, I'll show you I did this again. I put 2 different earrings on unwittingly this morning. Sophie, hello, very true. Sophie, the more I practice self-care, self-love and focus on my art, everything in my life changed. I listened to my intuition more regularly. I started really going inward. Beautiful. Prasanna says, your energy and voice also soothes us into filling up with oxytocin. Yeah, and I do that with my partner too. I have a whole training on feminine voice, gestures and touch in the Arise in Your Queen program. I teach you how to do that, Prasanna. I love this topic. Thank you, Candice. Says Amanda. Christina, I'm also having ADHD, so I feel my masculine energy. I talk fast, loud, do things fast, and I don't know how to deal with that. I want to be slow, sensitive, feminine, but I don't know how. As I said, Christina, I have a whole module on sensual embodiment in my Arise in Your Queen program where I talk about feminine voice, gestures and touch. We go into feminine movement, feminine sensuality, and also really embodying and understanding feminine sexuality. And when you get more seated in your body, in your energy, and I used to speak super fast too, because Australians speak fast, and I've learned just to slow it down, to slow down my actions, my movements, and it calms me down, first of all, first and foremost, and then anyone around me experiences it more. Prasanna, we are deeply emotional creatures. We feel so deeply. The masculine loves it, adores it actually, love to receive masculine men. Polarity feels so juicy. Hello, Petra. Hello, Arlene. Pamela asks, I'm seeing a man who I get very emotional with. I do not always feel comfortable with the heights of my emotions, though I am learning to harness its power. He often tells me that he loves how I am, especially at the times when I am my most emotionally sensitive and high. It feels so good to be accepted. I am my highs and my lows. I totally relate, Pamela. Thank you so much for sharing that. I used to be terrified that my man was going to just freak out from my emotions. And by the way, that's because I had been previously with low value men who were in their false masculine, who all were kind of in their feminine, and so when I got emotional they'd freak out, right? It's a really good sign a man is not high value, nor masculine, nor a king if he responds badly to your emotions. Big tip today. Angela, hello. Sophie. Oh, I love that about the queen and the bee, as in, yes, we be the honey, okay? We're the honey, and the men be the bee and come to us like honey. It's so true. That's exactly what happened with me. Beautiful. Hello, Christina. Welcome, welcome. So beautiful. Okay, my loves. So some food for thought here today. Some food for thought, okay? So our topic today has been about the best way to attract a king without being inauthentic. And essentially the conclusion here, okay, the conclusion is really simple. Simple in that it's the feminine that is the most highly valued resource to a high quality masculine man. How to apply the feminine in dating and relationships. I'm going to go deeper with you on my brand new masterclass that I want to invite you to, and it's how to become a high value woman who attracts and keeps a high quality masculine man. I go into it in great detail. I also teach you the 5-step attract a king method in the masterclass. I'm going to put a link below so that you can enroll. I'm conducting it a number of times this week. I really encourage you to join me and other women in the masterclass. I have just created this for you, and I would love you to join me in the masterclass. Now, at the end of the masterclass, I also have a super duper specific offer for you as a member of my community to join myself and 100 women who are joining us in the Arise in Your Queen, Attract Your King salon that has just been released. I have an amazing offer for you with some very exclusive bonuses. So watch this right now and watch it till the end where I show you what the bonuses are. Some really fantastic bonuses that I'm very excited to share with you. Now, finally, I encourage you to share your experiences about your attractive, magnetic, feminine attraction skills with men in the comments below. And I'll try to answer as many of any questions you have on in the comments below. Okay, and so I'm here for you. I'm here to support you in arising in your queen. And as I said, I'm literally offering a brand new program on how to arise in your queen, how to attract your king if you are finally done with trying to work this out on your own and failing at it, which, as I said, I had done for decades, but I've cracked the code. Myself and hundreds of women that I've already trained have cracked the code, and we'd love to invite you into the Arise in Your Queen Facebook group when you enroll in the program. So I'm here for you. I'm excited to have you on board. Let's just see if we have any final questions or shares today. Antoinette, welcome. Funny, welcome. Sally, Sarah, welcome, welcome. So sending much, much love to you. Let's finish it up here. My big love from my heart to yours, and I'll come on again tomorrow with another topic, and share your comments below. I really want to see what you have to say and how you relate to being attractive in your feminine power. Deep love from my heart to your big kiss, and remember, when you have the courage to go out there and shine, you give others permission to do the same. Much love to you. Bye bye for now.